everyone! Welcome! My name's Charlie, and today we're playing some more Animal Crossing New Horizons and returning to the lovely island of Quinoa. If you haven't watched my first month in Animal Crossing, you should definitely go check it out, but as a quick recap, we unlocked all the terraforming and infrastructure features, and also got Wolfgang on our island, my second favorite villager of all time. And that brings us to my goals for this next month, which are pretty much just to get Lucky, my ultimate favorite villager, and to start decorating the island, playing with some paths, items, and building locations, and just figuring out our theme and layout. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's jump right into it. To begin the next month on Quinoa, I had a little chat with Fauna and picked up a bunch of star fragments on the beach, saying a hello to Wolfgang as well. My absolute favorite decoration tool for Animal Crossing is the paths, and I wanted to pick some path types first and then kind of mold the theme of my island around them. I ended up really loving these stone ones, so I added them to my custom designs alongside these flowery wooden steps that I thought would match really nicely. After finishing that up, I headed out on an island tour and was lucky enough to collect some more of the new vines and glow moss to use for my plant theme. I still had a bunch of work to do before I could put down any of those kinds of decorations though. To begin with, I added some walls and trees to this raised land toward the back of the island where I plan to put my house. I really like how secluded it is. I want this piece of land to be the physical manifestation for the back of the bus. Does that even make sense? I feel like that only makes sense to me, I don't know why. That night, my friend Ring Queen and I hung out for a bit and she offered to let me nab any fruit I needed from her island. At first, I was like, no, it's okay, I want to get it on my own. But then I realized you can only organically get one type of fruit, your native fruit, and its partner fruit. Only two. I never knew this before, and you know, it makes sense why I could never collect them all, it's because I didn't have any friends. So, shamelessly, I stole 3 of every fruit off her island and then dashed. At this point, my primary concern was kicking my terrible villagers off the island, namely Boots, because I really don't like him and he gets on my nerves. But Boots didn't have the thought bubble that indicates when a villager wants to move. No. When I passed by Poppy's house though on my way to Red's, I saw that she did. You have got to be kidding me, Poppy! We're like best friends! I was so devastated by this that I just set down a log staircase leading up to my house area and spent the rest of the day grinding to pay it off. And look how beautiful it is! I love it! Leif was visiting the island the next afternoon and selling tomato starters, which I hadn't actually gotten before, so I purchased a whole load of those and then placed down a stone staircase on the left side of the island. Now over here, I was thinking it would be really cool to have a sort of shopping district with the museum, Able Sisters, and maybe even Nook's Cranny all packed into this area, but this would obviously take a little bit to move everything around. After doing a bit of research, I read that the thought bubble to get villagers to move out will shift to a different villager every day, yet for some reason, I just could not find it. When I logged on the next day, however, I found that the thought bubble was over Marshall instead. Why is it targeting all my good villagers? I thought we were friends. Do you all secretly hate me or something? I don't understand. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's gonna be okay, and it's gonna be fine. Although I was a little sad about that, I dug up a couple new gyroids for my creepy room, gave Fauna a gift so she would stop hating me, and then watched Marshall and Wolfgang hanging out, and that just really made my day. Look at them! They are so cute! I started off the next day by planting some of the new fruit that I got, and then had a fossil assessed by Blathers. Okay. Wait, what? A Dunkel Osteus? Good lord, it's beautiful! I'd been having a really hard time finding which villagers had the thought bubble, so I thought I could big brain it and force everyone to do a group stretching session to bring them outside, but still, it eluded me. And worse than that, I got tricked into exercising. At this point, the cherry blossoms had started to bloom and I wanted to collect some of them for recipes, so I spent a couple days just catching a bunch of them and selling all my produce. The next morning, Mabel and Sable's sister Label came to visit and asked me to model an outfit that embodied the spirit of party. Of course, I headed back to my house and put on my Hamilton fit just to impress her. 1780, a winter's ball. She loves it. Confirmed, Label is a Hamilton fan. Wait. The Able Sisters? So Label is Angelica, Sable is Eliza, and Mabel is Peggy. I am not taking any further questions. Once I'd gotten my prize of Taylor tickets from Label, I collected all the fruit on the island and sold it to finish up the stone staircase on the left side. Right after paying it off, I prepared the space for the second staircase leading up to my house, and then welcomed the spring with a drawing. T-posing into the spring, baby. The next day as I was walking around, I realized that now Fauna had the thought bubble above her head. Why? What did I do? After a quick bit of retail therapy, I put down the second log staircase leading to my house and then had Blathers assess the fossils I had dug up that day. By this point, I donated a large portion of the fossils, and usually I would sell the extras to fund my staircases and such, but on this day, I had a stroke of genius. And with 2 of my extra torsos, I created a work of art. It lives! The Dunkelsaurus! I did a bit of work on the paths afterward and then gave Wolfgang a sea bass, and wouldn't you know it, he came to visit as soon as I went home that afternoon. Welcome to my home! A peach? Whoa. A musician. He's not even touching the guitar, he's so talented. Oh my gosh. Sacred peach. Where do I put it? Perfect. Sacred peach. And on this day, I was gifted the sacred peach, which would live indefinitely in my home. I was a third of the way through the month, and yet I still couldn't find the thought bubble to kick villagers out, even though it had been there from the first day. For some reason, it was landing on Fauna pretty much every single day. I had no idea how to figure it out, so I just spent the rest of the day selling a bunch of fruit for bells and also getting these adorable little potted plants. The first thing I did the next morning was talk with Fauna, and she seemed fine. I even gave her a flower as a symbol of peace. After delivering said gift, I did some fishing for bells, got a furniture pattern from Sable, and then took a stroll along the beach. When I spoke with Fauna that morning, she'd asked me if I could catch her a carp, so once I'd finished up my chores, I crafted some fish bait and got a carp from the pond at the top of the island. I really felt like this was a turning point in our relationship, like I went out of my way to get this fish, she has to love me now. To celebrate Fauna and I's friendship, I donated the rest of the money for the log staircase and vibed in my gyroid room for a bit. And you know, I was feeling so generous that I even went to help Gulliver too, but on my way home after gathering his communicator parts, I saw this. I am ignoring that. I am legitimately ignoring that. I don't care. Maybe Fauna and I weren't friends, but Brewster and I were getting much closer, and on my way out of the roost from drinking my afternoon coffee, he even gave me the recipe for Roost Sable cookies. When I hopped onto Quinoa the next day, Tom Nook called me up and told me about the Mayday Tour. I'd done it once before a long time ago and there wasn't really much to do. You just get like a briefcase and some bells, but maybe in the past years they've added more. My attempts to kick bad villagers off Quinoa were not going well. A villager visited the campsite, but unfortunately it was just this anteater. And basically, all the current villagers were gathered in town, yet none of them had the thought bubble. I decided to let it go for the day and went ahead with my plans for rearranging the island's buildings, starting with Eloise's house, which was currently located in the place I wanted the Able sisters to go. Oh? What? Fauna! I ended up moving Eloise's house down next to Wolfgang's just to get it out of the way, and then decided I was fed up and I was just gonna rip off the band-aid and talk to Fauna, even if it meant I had to wait 2 more weeks to kick someone off the island. Okay, I don't care, I'm doing it. So I could really use some company right now if you're not busy. Would you be up for a quick visit? Wait, the thought bubble can be a good thing? Huh? So it turns out that thought bubbles don't always mean they want to move, and you know what? In retrospect, that makes a lot of sense. And after a week of her constantly wanting to invite me over, we actually had a really nice time. She even gave me a gift just as I was about to head out. A prison mic! Early the next morning, I placed down the Able Sisters building in its new spot and added a second stone staircase leading up to the highest piece of land where I'm planning to put the museum. Wait! We got rid of Jacob. We got rid of Jacob. We got rid of Jacob. I really could nearly cry. After saying goodbye to Jacob, I was literally over the moon. Like, it had been over 2 weeks of me trying to kick somebody off Quinoa, and finally, I had done it! I immediately began grinding for more miles, and it actually amassed a pretty good amount. I also ended up finding a scorpion, finished up the pass near the shopping district and the top right area of the island, and started to purchase all my Nook Miles tickets, which took like 5 business days, by the way. Goodbye, Jacob. Good luck out there. Because Jacob was still in boxes, I couldn't yet go on a villager hunt, so instead I did a bunch of diving and then headed to do the Mayday Tour. I did a lot of hopping, a lot of chopping, and eventually I made it to Rover to get his briefcase and also to steal these lovely white Cosmos, grabbing the bonus bell tickets on my way out. By the next day, Jacob had moved out, which meant that I was finally free to go on a villager hunt, and really, all I wanted to find was Lucky. And if not Lucky, somebody else that's really good. And thus, it began. After hours of island hopping, I met Sherb, and oh my goodness, I fell in love. He is so cute, and I immediately asked him to come move to Quinoa. As much as I love Sherb, I was a bit torn up about not finding Lucky that day after so much trouble clearing out a spot. I mean, there's still a lot of opportunities. We've got to get rid of Eloise, Faith, Boots, Al, and Pippi, so it's all about patience, you know? We'll get there one day. We'll get there. Once I'd sold all the stuff I collected on the island tours, I finally had enough bells to pay off my loan and chilled out for the rest of the day. Sherb was such a great addition to the island, and I was just gushing over my villagers this day and excited about the future of Quinoa. Like, look how freaking cute Poppy is! And Wolfgang just dancing here next to the river? I think Sherb will fit right in. And the next night, he finally arrived. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. He is so cute! I was so happy about having upgraded my house again, and you know what? All of that just got massively ruined by this stupid letter from Al. And to be fair, Al and I hadn't interacted much in the past couple weeks, thank God. And then he goes and says to me, and I quote, "Hey pal, I mean Charlie, so he obviously knows his place. I see your house got bigger again. What are you feeding it? You can feed it this present if you wanna." And you know what the present was? A toilet! What does this even mean? And I swear, I had emotional whiplash from talking with my villagers on this day because then I go and see Sherb, and he says, "You're breathtakingly cute in that outfit." What? There was a villager at the campsite that day as well, and I was praying that it would maybe possibly be Lucky, but you know, obviously it wasn't. So, for the rest of the night, I grinded for bells to pay off the final staircase and then began to design a little farm area near Marshall's house with paths, log stakes, and all the produce I'd collected. It was looking pretty good, and I'd moved all the crops I had over there by the next morning. Okay, so I actually made a cute little campsite area over here that I forgot to record myself making, so I'm just gonna walk through. I am hidden. Oh my god! The day before, I'd paid to move the campsite to this new location, planted some orange trees, and built up this really cute little campsite area with the bonfire, logs, and everything. Because the campsite was moved, I could also finally put my house in the location I'd wanted. And honestly, I was ecstatic. It looked so good, and I always loved the idea of having sort of a private, secluded little place for the house. Now that most of the buildings were positioned where I wanted them to be, I could do some crafting and customizing and finally start decorating the island, and I started by putting together my kitchen. The peach isn't moving, it just isn't. But I put in this nice stone kitchen as well as a shelf, some pots and pans for the wall, and a nice countertop where I displayed these little jars of jam. And the next day, my house was finally moved to my own little paradise. I really liked how the campsite was right next to it too, because it's like a little hangout spot. I can have little bonfires with friends. Invites will be sent to Wolfgang, Fauna, Sherb, Poppy, and Marshall only. Using the items I'd crafted earlier, I added some more stakes to the farm which I thought looked really nice, and also rearranged all the gyroids in my creepy room before chilling out for a bit, enjoying the ambiance. I did a bit of experimenting by placing down some flower paths and setting fences on top, and I'm not sure if I'm all that jazzed about it. I do like how it matches the bridge, but I left it for the time being and extended the stone pathway out by the staircase to my house. While out for a stroll the next morning, Wolfgang told me that Marshall was sick, and I hadn't visited Marshall or given him any gifts in a bit, so I got some medicine from Nooks and brought it to him. Honestly, I really love the community of villagers that's growing on Quinoa right now. It feels like such a cozy place and everyone is friends and it's so heartwarming. I just can't wait to see how it grows. Like, I talked with Sherb the next day and he just gave me a gift out of nowhere. Here, you'll look real cool in a power helmet. Same color as your tennis sweater. Are you colorblind? After doing a bunch of random chores to gather Nook Miles, I moved Poppy's house from the top of the cliffs to the location where my house used to be. A sacred spot, really. As one of the final changes for the layout, I finally was able to move the museum up to the top cliff at the shopping center and then decided to extend the pathway up to Poppy's new house location. So, it is the final day of this month on Quinoa, and I have a bunch of plans for tonight. A lot of things that I want to get done. Why is Poppy so obsessed with me? Jesus Christ. She sends me so many letters. I'm kind of scared. One of those plans was to finish placing all the basic pathways, and now that the museum had been moved up to the cliff, I went ahead and started to do so. I think it ended up looking pretty good. I want to add a lot of different outside decorations around the entrance and behind the back of the museum, but I don't really have any ideas for that yet. To finish off the last day, I wanted to do some light decorating in my house with some of the items I'd gotten over the past couple weeks, but I ended up being interrupted. Oh my god. Wolfgang, I love ya, but I really just want to decorate. Oh my god. Another sacred peach! This is going straight in the kitchen, but not yet. Gotta wait this out. Oh, good lord! He's really taking a seat right in the middle of the room. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, he's kinda cute though. As a beautiful conclusion to the month, I placed my second sacred peach in the center of the kitchen and added a couple more pieces of furniture to top it all off. I feel like we made some massive steps this month, moving all our buildings around, upgrading our house a couple times, adding pathways all around the island, and getting Sherb, possibly the cutest villager I've ever set eyes on. Hopefully next month we can get rid of Boots or maybe get lucky, but either way, I'm so excited for it and I hope that you are too, and you'll stay tuned to see how next month goes as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you here. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Me now.